and welcome back to Bookish Theories. In today's video, I would like to talk about Dreamcatcher Scream, focusing on a little breakdown and analysis of the lyrics, the music video, and how the story could be connected to Deja Vu. Scream is a very powerful song that deals with the importance of language and how hateful words can negatively affect you and the world that surrounds you. As it always happens with Dreamcatcher, the video tells us an epic story that reflects the transformation that is referenced in the lyrics. But before diving into the analysis, I think it's important to take a look at the spoiler video that they released about the storyline. Now, in the video, we see that the story begins with a tree and two women on the opposite sides of the tree trunk. The tree here is obviously the tree of language that is mentioned in the title of the album. It's a symbol of communication that exists as a balancing force between light and darkness. But as we see at the beginning of the music video, one day the light did not come and people forgot how to say good things. This makes sense because the child that symbolizes the light here is also the representation of the values that the light is usually associated with. If we take a look at the spoiler video, when the young girl is in power, she is surrounded by positive words, such as eternal good, hope, thank you, and I love my dream. But as soon as the darkness takes over, the child grows old and the words transform into negative ones. We see loneliness, death, indifference, devil, revenge. But most importantly, the sentence I love my dream turns into I can't get out. This could imply that once again, the story we are seeing here is portraying the girls in a dream reality. At first, this is almost a perfect world full of light and beauty. But as soon as the darkness takes over, their dream turns into a dystopia which affects both the reality they live in and the girls themselves. This is also confirmed by the beginning of the MV, where we see Sua, Jiu, and Hyun actually sleeping. As we'll see in a second, the fact that they are in black and white here could be a clue that this scene portrays the events that come before the disappearance of the light. But for now, let's focus on the lyrics. At the beginning, the song opens with the girls saying that their vision is colored in blood and that they can feel the stairs as the pain grows inside of them and the cold wind blows. This is an indication that at this point, the darkness has just taken over. The girls here are still innocent and honest, but their reality is already starting to change because the people around them stare at them and they feel growing pain inside of their body. This is the beginning of the transformation they'll go through later on. The fact that they mention that their hands are tied and that they are in pain implies that for now they are the victims here. They have no control on what's going on, but as the story progresses, the video shows the light disappearing and the girls being progressively taken over by the darkness. The first one that is affected in the present timeline seems to be Jiu, which we see running towards the tree and being surrounded by purple flames once she is inside of it. The fact that she is wearing black and white here could imply that at this point she's still in balance. But since the light has disappeared, the fire engulfs her, the devil eyes come, and she's forced to open her eyes. The idea of the devil opening their eyes here suggests that them waking up into the dystopia implies a transformation for the worst. At this point, they don't want to scream, they are begging, but the darkness is spreading and they cannot do anything about it. During the chorus, we see Sua being followed by a cloud of black smoke and being taken over soon after. But by the time the second verse begins, we start to understand why all of this is actually happening. Now, at this point, we go into a wormhole and the video goes back in black and white as Guyon appears on screen. She's holding a mask here and she talks about them becoming a random target of hate from pitiful freaks who hide behind the mask. If we consider the song out of context, this could very well be about those people who hate on them by hiding behind the anonymity of the internet. As Dami says, even if they swallow their thirst, that is, their anger about the situation, those people blame the hypocrisy on them and push them to the edge. The words that come from strangers that hate on them for no reason become blades that dig into them. And even if they want it to stop, the smoke keeps rising and they are overpowered by it. On a general level, this is a great metaphor that shows how hate can transform you into something you are not. The change they are going through here is not a positive one. It's them being taken over by the same negativity that hurt them. But in the context of the storyline, the fact that Gaion is the first one to appear awake in the black and white setting implies that in the story she is the one who triggered this transformation in the first place. If we take a look at the scene of her in the tree room, this actually makes sense. In contrast to Jiu's scene, for instance, where we see that the room is already filled with vines, mist, and darkness, Gaion's scene shows that the room is initially filled with light. Things change when she touches the purple stone filled with words and it breaks into pieces. Now this stone is the same one that we see in the spoiler video as well, and in the MV we see that even if it's surrounded by black smoke, the stone itself is actually shiny. This could imply that the stone contains the darkness that until that moment was kept sealed by the light. It's like a Pandora's box, if you will. So when Gaion touches it, the darkness is freed and the light disappears. If you look closely, the purple light and the words that were inside of the stone are free when Jiu is surrounded by the flames. So this implies that Gaion's touch is the action that triggered the events of the story. This is also confirmed by the tree room turning red, the explosion that follows, and the girls actually pointing at her when she sings about the devil eyes. Since she is the first one that got in touch with the darkness, she is also the first one who is awakened by it, followed by Dami, who is the second that we see awake in black and white, then Jiu, and later Sua. The only ones left at this point are Xion and Huyeon, but this changes in the bridge. Now in the bridge, Xion says that she opens her eyes when everyone else has left. This means that at this point the others are gone, because Gaion, Dami, Sua and Jiu are already taken over, while Huyeon is experiencing the same type of isolation she is going through. As the spoiler video already foreshadowed, loneliness is part of the darkness, so them being left alone gives the darkness the opportunity to take them as well. At this point, the transformation is complete. Their sadness turns into anger, and instead of begging not to scream, now they want the haters to scream, thus fulfilling the revenge that was already foreshadowed in the spoiler video. Since everyone screams at them, they are now willing to make them scream in return, because darkness has opened their eyes and transformed them into the very thing that made them suffer at the beginning. Now, even if the story is not over yet, the presence of the black smoke, the vines, Sua's outfit and sword, as well as the similarities that we see in the set design, makes me think that Scream could be a prequel to what we see happening in Deja Vu. Back then, the story was inspired by the video game King's Raid, and it portrayed the conflict between Jiu, who was the rightful queen of the kingdom, and Huyeon, who played the role of the usurper. In that video, the focus was on the contrast between the beautiful memory of the past and the harsh reality of the present. And even if at the beginning they wanted to forget, the song ended with them choosing to live in the illusion of their déjà vu instead of facing the truth. This is interesting because in Scream, Dami actually repeats that we need to forget the past and pretend that nothing has happened. In the lyrics, she says that this way everyone turns crazy, and if we compare these lines to Deja Vu, this is exactly what happens there. In that video, we see the story both from the perspective of Huyeon and from the perspective of the other girls. According to Huyeon, she is the hero and Jiu is the enemy, but this is not the truth, because in reality, Jiu was the good one and Huyeon betrayed her. Since darkness took over her and made her forget about the past, however, she turned crazy and created an alternative version of the story, where she is right and the others are wrong. If I'm correct about this, then the disappearance of the light in Scream is what caused Hyun to betray Ji-woo in Deja Vu and actually make her fall into the illusion that she is the rightful queen. To know if I'm right or wrong, however, we'll have to wait and see. In the meantime, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please think about liking and subscribing. As always, thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye bye!